Have you ever wondered why, right when you're on the verge of achieving something absolutely amazing, like a massive promotion, a healthy relationship, or finally hitting that fitness goal, you suddenly do something to completely wreck it? Well, what if I told you that you aren't broken and you definitely aren't a failure? In fact, your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. This explainer reveals the shocking truth behind why we hold ourselves back. Our In Mountain is You summary is going to dig into how Brianna Wiest wrote a phenomenal guide to personal growth, and we're going to use it to completely transform the way you view your deepest struggles.
Seriously, why do you sabotage your own success? It's kind of the ultimate paradox of self-improvement, isn't it? We desperately want success, yet we actively destroy our path to it. The counterintuitive truth that Brianna Wiest explains is that your self-sabotage is actually your mind trying to protect you. It's essentially an outdated emotional bodyguard. And today, we are going to teach you how to fire it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Brianna Wiest says, "You are not in the mountain. The mountain is in you." I love this because it perfectly highlights that the biggest, most intimidating obstacles standing between you and your ultimate goals aren't your boss, the economy, or just a streak of bad luck. Nope, they are completely internal.
Section 1. The Mountain Within You. Facing Your Internal Blockades.
If you've ever felt paralyzed by perfectionism or just completely stuck in life, you really need to hear this. Self-sabotage is not laziness. It is literally a misguided form of self-preservation. When you procrastinate on a massive project, you aren't just being lazy. Your psyche is clumsily attempting to protect you from the pain of potential judgment or failure. Or think about staying in a comfortable but totally unfulfilling job. That isn't a lack of ambition, that's just your brain avoiding the terrifying uncertainty of chasing your dreams. It's a short-term shield that practically guarantees long-term misery. Let's look at Section 2, why you sabotage yourself. The roots of the problem, because understanding these life lessons is absolutely crucial.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it explains the deep mindset issues at play here. To truly stop destroying our progress, we have to understand cognitive dissonance. It's the intense mental discomfort you feel when you hold contradictory beliefs. Let's say deep down you have this negative core belief that you're just unworthy of love. But then you meet someone incredible who treats you perfectly. That creates massive psychological friction. So what do? You unconsciously ruin the relationship. You sabotage it so your external reality aligns perfectly with your negative internal belief. Because, strangely enough, our brains feel it's easier to prove ourselves right than to overhaul our entire identity. Crazy, right?
So this creates the ultimate mental tug of war. On one side, you have your conscious desires, success, love, fulfillment. But on the other side, you have your subconscious comfort zones, familiar misery, safety, and stagnation. We always say we want to change, but our subconscious actually craves the familiar, even if that familiar state is absolutely terrible. This friction right here is the absolute core of our self-defeating behaviors. And this friction leads directly to what Brianna Wiest calls the sabotage peak, retreating right before a major breakthrough. Have you ever noticed that right before you actually achieve a major goal, you start to panic? That's because real success brings terrifying new responsibilities and a totally new identity. So your subconscious hits the emergency brake and aggressively pulls you back to known territory just to keep you safe. Section 3. Unlocking emotional intelligence, finding your personal genius.
Okay, pivoting to the solution here, overcoming this mountain absolutely starts with discovering your authentic self, totally unburdened by past fears. Brianna Wiest gives us a phenomenal psychological toolkit to conquer this. Step 1 is self-awareness, observing your emotions without judgment. Because let's face it, you simply cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. Step 2 is self-regulation. This is learning to take a deep pause before reacting impulsively to a stressful situation. Step 3 is motivation, actively connecting your everyday goals to your deep emotional core values so your drive becomes unstoppable. And finally, empathy. Understanding others actually helps you navigate relationships and spot your own blind spots so much more clearly.
To actually put this into practice, you need to utilize these specific tools. First, practice radical acceptance. Feel your feelings without labeling them as bad. If you feel envy, just observe it. Don't shame yourself for it. Next, heal the wounded inner child by reparenting yourself. You literally have to give yourself the safety and validation you might have missed growing up. Then, monitor your window of tolerance. This is your optimal zone of rational functioning. When your emotions run too hot, you step outside of it and start making poor choices. And finally, start trigger tracking. Basically, work backward from an emotional outburst to find the actual root cause of your pain.
Section 4. Releasing your past.
dropping the baggage.
Because before you can climb any higher on your personal mountain, you absolutely have to let go of the heavy emotional charge from past traumas. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is the unavoidable loss, heartbreak, and disappointment of life. We all face it. But suffering, that is the rumination, the resentment, the constant why me story we attach to that pain. Releasing the past essentially means letting go of the suffering narrative, even if the memory of the pain itself still remains. True healing is not the absence of the wound, it is the integration of it. This is really about the incredible power of radical forgiveness. You don't forgive for the benefit of the person who hurt you, you do it to free up your own emotional energy. Transforming your trauma into your life's purpose is, hands down, the ultimate act of resilience.
Section 5. Designing your future self. Building a new life.
Now, this is where we shift from healing into triumphant, actionable strategies to rewire your brain for total success. So, how do we actively build this new life? First up, commit to micro-habits. Massive transformation doesn't come from grand, sweeping gestures. It comes from just 15 minutes of daily, focused action that outpaces anything else over time. Second, shift to future self decision-making. In any tough situation, pause and ask yourself, what would my future self do? Let your desired future pull you forward rather than letting your past drag you backward. And finally, establish healthy boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out, they're essential guidelines to protect your energy and show people exactly how to treat you.
Section 6. Key life lessons. The ultimate takeaways. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this book summary, and I want to deliver a rapid-fire sequence of the key ideas. Here are the main lessons you need to apply to your own journey of personal growth. 1. Don't fight the mountain, understand its geology. Stop fighting your self-sabotage and start understanding why it's there. 2. Update your coping mechanisms. The armor that protected you in childhood is just too heavy for the climb today. 3. Actively challenge and replace your negative core beliefs. 4. Re-narrate your story from victim to hero. And 5. Remember that self-mastery is a continuous process. You don't just arrive at the peak, it is a lifelong, beautiful practice. Stop thinking about what you want and start thinking about who you want to be. The former is a destination. The latter is a direction. This right here is the absolute game changer. It's the ultimate shift in perspective. If you want to permanently escape your old comfort zones, you must focus entirely on the direction you are heading and the identity you are actively building. Which brings us to our final, most important question. What peak will you conquer next within yourself? The mountain isn't out there in the world, it's in you. And now you have the psychological tools, the emotional intelligence, and the blueprint from Brianna Wiest to actually summit it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this deep dive has left you hungry to begin your own internal work. Get out there and start climbing.